The game mode was simple. Me and my two friends on one team, an AI team of 2 and an AI team of 3. AI was set to random civilization as well as a completely random map tool, so we had no idea what sort of game we were getting ourselves into. Blue was myself, a player who used to play a lot when younger, but only ever competed against friends. Red was Watch, a man who owned the game when younger but never really got into playing it long term. Green was Starlake, a man who had never owned the game prior to now, only owning and playing similar style games like Command and Conquer. Because of this, I knew that we were not the best players. We decided to play on moderate difficulty. It's not like we wanted to lose after all. So let me set the scene for you. First, you are dealing with a bunch of noobs, playing random civilizations, playing on a map we have never played on before, separated by enemies between each of us. And to top it all off, we're playing on fast speed. What could possibly go wrong? The game started off easy enough. The initial plan was to build up, protect our flanks, and attack the enemy. On exploring the map, we noticed that things were not as simple as we first thought.
I got yellows running through my map already. They do look rather... Wow, yellow is so close. I can see their township in the same screen as my one.
Oh. Yeah, there's I'm already seeing the Spanish in the corner, and they built a mill right next to where I just set up my lumber camp.
Oh, so we have an enemy in between us too.
Yeah, Teal, the Spanish.
I thought it was just us 3 on this side.
While initial economy building went well, we found that the AI was able to keep ahead of us with technology. I wasn't particularly concerned since I was not far behind, and I suspected that the AI was overextending itself. By this point, we also figured out that we had enemies between us. This meant we needed to adjust the plan a little bit. I thought a good place to begin would be to start harassing the AI while in the feudal age. Maybe I could slow them down, break their economy, who knows. The initial skirmishes went well, and I made some headway destroying some villages. However, I had no major success against the enemy. Both my allies did the same, though like me their efforts were less than successful.
Who knows? Maybe they'll... Yeah, there you go. They garrisoned. Straight away they garrisoned.
Deny the castle. The AI quickly reached the castle age and had their revenge. While I was focused on trying to limit Orange, the other AI had focus fired on my 2 allies. The first player they attacked and took out was Watch. Very quickly, his main town was denied resources and his town centre was under threat. He chose, rather than stay and die, to flee to a more secure location, right near the water's edge. Surely the most perfect location. Watch this. It'll factor in later. Not long after, Starlake was overcome and also forced to flee. He naturally decided to flee all the way to the other side of the map. No gold or stone. Hopefully that won't cause any issues later. It was at this moment, once both Starlake and Watch had fled from their homes, that I realized that I was going to be playing the defensive game for a while. So, I shifted the game plan. What would protect myself against incursions from enemy forces when I don't actually have the time to fight them? A magic line of castles ought to do it. Since orange and grey were enemies to cyan, purple and yellow, rather than doing the smart thing and pursuing my allies, red and green, to completely destroy them, the AI decided to focus on one another. Good for you, AI. Well, for us, this gave us some much needed breathing room. The plan now was to create a buffer zone. The first step, that orange castle needed to go.
There.
Alright, good, we're in.
Unfortunately, however,
I was then trying to create a defensive line against enemy incursions, building up an economy to handle the coming enemy offensive. This was to prove difficult. Unfortunately, Orange and Silver probably had the worst starting location of everyone present, being separated by all three, Cyan, Purple and Yellow. They did not last long at all. Very quickly, Orange and Silver were crushed and I found myself under attack from all three of the remaining AI. Managing my resources, keeping track of my scattered troops, helping my freaking out teammates, and managing my economy started to wear me thin. Cracks formed in my defenses. Starlake had decided to build their new home on the other side of the map. At first thought a wise decision. However, it would prove to be a strategic blunder. He had isolated himself, making us not able to easily assist him whenever he was attacked, and this caused him to freak out on numerous occasions.
No, 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 don't you dare, don't you dare. Dude. I'm not having fun, guys. I'm not having fun.
What happened? What's happening?
Yellow was still pursuing me. They've got some bloody siege units. I don't have any gold. I have no gold.
We also started to feel the strain of our limited resources. We needed food, gold and wood to build our armies. I needed stone to continue my magic line of castles. However, since I was fighting on so many fronts, multiple times the enemy managed to critically wound my economy. At times, even destroying my main town centre and farms, while I had been none the wiser. Still, we persisted. Slowly, I was pushing forward, building more and more forward bases, pushing for more gold and stone, building more and more castles and towers to protect our assets. It was definitely not easy. On top of the attacks by the land, the AI built a navy. Remember how both Watch and Starlake had decided to build their bases quite close to the water's edge? Well, this navy completely smashed Starlake's new economy, his new base, and then moved to take out anything that could be reached from the sea. Those cursed cannon galleons. I found myself unable to keep up. The irritation was rising, and I'm sure that my actions per minute were also rising like crazy. My mouse was whizzing around the map trying to make sure we didn't completely die. I was becoming easily distracted, with multiple times losing my armies and buildings for completely stupid reasons. Had a choice. Could I blame our teammates? Could I argue against them, fight against them, and then allow the fracture in our team to sort of set us apart? Or could I just buckle down, double down on just playing defenses and trusting them, giving them another opportunity to pick things up and actually recover? Because the thing was, were we gonna win? And to be honest, at this point I had no idea. Starlake made it pretty clear what he thought.
I think we're gonna lose, boys.
How did they find me down here?
However, despite all the issues, despite all the losses and stresses, I decided to trust my teammates. We started to recover. As I held the line, Watch and Starlake successfully recovered their economy and could now assist in fighting the enemy again. Watch and I managed to combine our forces and we attacked Cyan's main base, taking the opportunity to gather some much needed stone and gold. Starlake had successfully built a navy and then he set them against the enemy navy, stopping them from crushing our economies again. The fighting was fierce. We struggled to keep our enemies on target, to not get distracted and run into the castle range, but we weren't alone. Although it took a while, we successfully eliminated Cyan, turning this from a 3x3 to a 3x2, and the snowball had started. Using the same army we used to take out Cyan, we began to push against Yellow. Now Yellow and Purple had been the enemies that had given me the hardest time, and I knew that we needed a win here. And thankfully, because we were working together, we did it easily. And even though not long after that our army was annihilated, the game was as good as over. Purple could not outproduce us here. It was a 3x1. And once you started snowballing like that, you can't stop. In no time at all, Purple had joined the others in the dust. The match was over.
find like 7 relics in that last castle.
It was time for the debrief, and oh boy could we see some issues in our gameplay. Way too easily distracted.
How to start taking the
What are you guys doing? What's wrong with you?
Failure to pick good strategic locations, and then a complete failure to notice when our entire economy had been gutted. Still, unlike the moderate AI, we actually knew how to have an army and village account larger than 60. And one thing I know for sure, if we had played on the hard difficulty, it would be no question. We would have been completely slaughtered. Well, maybe next time, we won't make the same mistakes. Perhaps we won't find ourselves fighting on 3 fronts. Well, our journey to improve our gameplay and our teamwork begins now.
By the time
if I didn't have that last villager that was still alive, I would have definitely lost.
I think about that time where that navy kept coming in and just wiped out everything I just started rebuilding, and like all I had was farms. That's like everything else I was just supply blocked on.